Welcome to Home and Harmony, where we believe every small space deserves big style, especially when spring arrives with its promise of renewal and fresh beginnings. Today we're exploring how to infuse your compact apartment with the sophisticated, yet approachable aesthetic that has made Nate Berkus one of America's most beloved interior designers.
His signature blend of timeless elegance, meaningful objects, and textural contrasts creates spaces that feel both curated and comfortable, perfect for breathing new life into your small apartment this season. If you're ready to transform
your space with designer-worthy touches that won't overwhelm your square footage or your budget, you're in the right place. Before we dive into these gorgeous spring transformations, I'd love to invite you to join our growing Home and Harmony family by hitting that subscribe button and turning on notifications. Your likes and comments help our channel grow, and I absolutely love hearing about your own design journeys in the comments section below. Now let's explore how Berkus masterfully balances modern restraint with personal warmth, and how we can apply his design philosophy to create small spaces that feel expansive, intentional, and perfect for spring entertaining and everyday living. Nate Berkus revolutionized small space design with his fundamental belief that apartments shouldn't sacrifice style for square footage. His approach centers on the quality over quantity principle, investing in fewer but better pieces that serve both functional and aesthetic purposes, rather than filling every corner simply because space allows. This philosophy becomes especially relevant in spring, when we naturally crave lightness and breathing room after the heavier, cozier winter months. Berkus encourages small apartment dwellers to think of their spaces as carefully curated galleries, where each item earns its place through beauty, function, or meaningful connection. The designer's small space strategy begins with an honest assessment of how you actually live day to day, not how you aspire to live or entertain. His practical approach prioritizes comfort and livability while maintaining an elevated aesthetic that makes even modest apartments feel considered and complete. Berkus famously advocates for removing unnecessary items first, creating what he calls negative space that allows your carefully selected pieces to shine. This spring cleaning mentality aligns perfectly with the season, allowing you to start fresh with a thoughtfully edited foundation before adding those perfect seasonal touches that breathe new life into your space. Berkus's approach to color in small spaces demonstrates why he's a master of sophisticated restraint, especially valuable when transitioning apartments from winter to spring. His small space color strategy typically begins with a warm, neutral base that creates cohesion and visual calm throughout limited square footage. Think soft ivories, gentle taupes, warm grays, and natural linens that allow architectural elements and carefully chosen furniture to speak without competition. This neutral foundation becomes especially important in spring, when we can thoughtfully introduce selective color without overwhelming the space or creating visual chaos. For spring refreshes, Berkus often recommends incorporating color through easily changeable elements rather than permanent fixtures or large furniture pieces. Consider introducing dusty blues, soft celadons, pale corals, or buttery yellows through textiles like throw pillows, lightweight curtains, or a statement throw blanket artfully draped across your sofa. The key to the Berkus approach is restraint, perhaps limiting your seasonal color additions to just 2 complementary hues used strategically throughout the space. This calculated approach creates a subtle spring refresh that feels intentional, rather than impulsive, reflecting the designer's belief that even seasonal changes should feel thoughtful rather than trendy. Berkus's furniture approach for small apartments demonstrates his remarkable ability to marry practicality with elevated style, particularly valuable when refreshing spaces for spring. For compact living, he advocates for dual-purpose pieces that maximize functionality without sacrificing aesthetic appeal. Think ottomans with hidden storage, expandable dining tables, or slim console tables that can transition between work surface and entertaining station. The designer's spring arrangements typically create conversational groupings that feel intimate, yet uncluttered, often anchored by one statement piece that adds character without overwhelming the space. What truly sets Berkus apart is his insistence on proper breathing room between furniture elements, a principle even more important in smaller apartments. When styling for spring, he often recommends floating furniture away from walls when possible, rather than pushing everything to the perimeter, creating the illusion of space and intentionality. For spring transformations specifically, consider lightweight furniture with visible legs rather than heavy pieces that sit directly on the floor, as this creates visual lightness perfect for the season. Remember Berkus's golden rule: just because your furniture can fit into a space doesn't mean it should. Edited, thoughtful selection creates apartments that feel designed rather than simply furnished. One of Berkus's most recognizable design signatures is his masterful use of textural contrasts, creating rich visual interest even in minimalist small spaces. Spring presents the perfect opportunity to lighten these textural elements while maintaining the sophisticated depth that makes his interiors so compelling. The designer frequently juxtaposes materials with opposing tactile qualities: smooth ceramics against rough baskets, crisp linens beside nubby throws, or sleek metals contrasting with natural wood grains. These deliberate contrasts create a sensory richness that elevates simple rooms into thoughtfully designed spaces. For spring-inspired Berkus textures, consider transitioning heavy winter fabrics to lighter alternatives while maintaining that signature contrast. Replace thick wool throws with slubbed linen versions, swap dense velvet pillows for those with subtle cotton embroidery, or introduce woven grass elements like placemats or lightweight baskets. When selecting new spring accessories, incorporate at least 3 distinctly different textures to create that layered Berkus effect. The designer often suggests touching your space, literally running your hand across different surfaces to ensure you're creating an environment that engages not just visually, but tactilely, creating spaces that feel as good as they look. Berkus revolutionized mainstream design with his passionate belief that homes should tell the story of those who live there through carefully curated objects, a principle especially valuable when refreshing small apartments for spring. His approach to styling shelves and surfaces in compact spaces begins with selective editing, removing winter's heavier accessories to create breathing room before thoughtfully reintroducing items with personal significance. Rather than decorating with random store-bought items, Berkus encourages displaying collections, travel souvenirs, family heirlooms, or artisanal pieces that spark conversation and reflect your personal journey. For spring-inspired Berkus styling, consider rotating your meaningful objects seasonally, perhaps showcasing items in lighter colors or natural materials that reflect spring's renewal theme. The designer's signature styled, not stuffed approach becomes even more important in small spaces, creating vignettes with varied heights, balanced asymmetry, and negative space between grouped objects. Try his professional technique of arranging items in odd numbers, typically 3s or 5s, and incorporating what he calls something quirky, an unexpected element that breaks perfect matching for more authentic, collected over time appeal. This thoughtful curation transforms ordinary shelves and surfaces into personal galleries that make even small apartments feel uniquely yours while maintaining that coveted Berkus sophistication. Berkus elevates small apartment design through his strategic use of mirrors and lighting, elements that become even more impactful when refreshing spaces for spring. Rather than randomly hanging mirrors, the designer deliberately positions them to amplify natural light and create visual expansions of space, placing them across from windows to bounce daylight deeper into rooms, or at the ends of hallways to extend sightlines. For spring transformations, consider Berkus's preference for mirrors with slim frames or interesting shapes that add architectural interest without heavy visual weight, creating reflective moments that make apartments feel significantly larger. Lighting forms the other half of Berkus's spatial expansion strategy, with the designer famously advocating for layered illumination that creates atmosphere rather than just functionality. As spring brings longer daylight hours, assess how natural light moves through your space throughout the day, then supplement with at least 3 artificial light sources at different heights in each room. Replace heavy winter lampshades with lighter colored or even translucent versions that maximize light diffusion, and consider introducing brass or copper metallic finishes that warmly reflect light. Remember Berkus's practical advice to place lights at varying heights, table lamps, floor lamps, and perhaps simple plug-in sconces, creating dimension that makes small rooms feel thoughtfully designed rather than simply lit. Berkus's approach to window treatments in small apartments demonstrates his gift for balancing privacy needs with maximizing precious natural light, particularly important when transitioning to spring's longer, brighter days. Rather than heavy drapes that visually truncate walls, the designer often opts for simple linen panels hung close to the ceiling and extending beyond window frames, creating an illusion of taller, wider windows while allowing maximum light filtration. For spring refreshes, consider Berkus's preference for natural fibers in lightweight opacities that gently diffuse sunlight rather than block it entirely, perhaps transitioning winter's heavier window coverings to simple Roman shades or breezy curtains in neutral tones. The designer's signature incorporation of natural elements becomes especially relevant during spring, when bringing outdoor freshness inside creates seasonal alignment without requiring major renovations. Berkus frequently introduces what he calls living accessories, strategically placed plants, branches of spring blossoms, or even interesting driftwood or stones that connect interiors with nature. For small apartments where plant space is limited, consider his approach of fewer but larger statement plants rather than many small ones, perhaps a single dramatic fiddle leaf fig or an architectural snake plant that adds height without demanding floor space. These natural touches create what Berkus calls moments of life that make even the smallest apartments feel connected to spring's renewal. Berkus has transformed small apartment living through his philosophy that storage should be both beautiful and functional, never sacrificing style for utility even in the most compact spaces. His spring organization approach begins with an honest assessment of seasonal needs, often recommending the temporary storage of heavy winter items to create breathing room before implementing his signature hidden and highlighted strategy. This method thoughtfully conceals everyday necessities while displaying beautiful essentials, perhaps storing practical items in decorative boxes on open shelving, while allowing well-designed everyday objects like wooden kitchen tools or artistic ceramics to remain visible. For spring-inspired Berkus storage, consider incorporating his favorite natural fiber baskets, vintage containers repurposed for modern needs, or slim rolling carts that add functionality without permanent commitment. Perfect for rental apartments. The designer's small space organization masterfully incorporates what he calls pretty practicality, selecting storage pieces like hand-woven hampers or decorative trays that serve essential functions while contributing to the room's aesthetic, rather than detracting from it. Remember Berkus's practical advice that in small spaces, everything visible should earn its place through both function and beauty, a principle that creates rooms that work efficiently while maintaining that coveted designer elegance, even during seasonal transitions. The magic of Berkus's small apartment philosophy comes together when we understand his fundamental belief that thoughtful design makes even the most compact spaces feel like intentional sanctuaries rather than compromised living situations. His spring approach emphasizes quality over quantity, meaningful curation over trendy consumption, and strategic editing that allows each element room to breathe and contribute to the overall composition. By applying these principles, from textural layering to personal storytelling through objects, even the smallest apartments transform into spaces that feel expansive, considered, and perfectly aligned with spring's promise of renewal and fresh perspectives. As we conclude our journey through Berkus-inspired spring transformations, I hope you're feeling inspired to approach your own small space with renewed intention and confidence. Remember that beautiful design is accessible at any square footage when you focus on thoughtful curation rather than filling every corner. If you've enjoyed these insights and strategies, I'd be so grateful if you'd support Home and Harmony by subscribing, liking this video, and sharing your own small space triumphs in the comments below. Your engagement helps our channel grow and connects our community of design enthusiasts who believe, just like Nate Berkus, that we all deserve to live in spaces that reflect our stories and elevate our everyday experiences, no matter the square footage.